And welcome to Today at the Races. This time on the Laurel lawn. Keith, we're back at Laurel Park for the 2023 fall meet.
Yeah, we're back. A little jaunt over there at Pimlico, and had a lot of fun over there. Now we're back for the extended stay here at Laurel Park, no doubt about it. Looking out at this track, dried out nicely. Yes, we are off the turf today, but the turf looks as good as I think I've ever seen it. So really excited. I think we'll get back on it tomorrow. We've got big stakes action ahead of us on tomorrow's card. 11 races, 4 stakes, the Salima, the Futurity, the Twixt, and the Japan Turf Cup. And golly, we got a lot of work to do because I tell you, the racing office did a great job all weekend. These entries, I mean, they are aplenty.
I was just talking to I was on a morning show, a radio show earlier, and and you and I keep coming back to this and keep noting that the racing office has done a great job overall this summer, just giving us decent cards. We have been having some value of prices come up, but some really decent cards, and this weekend is absolutely no exception.
Yeah.
So a lot to sift through, and even still plenty to sift through today. Kicking off this early pick 5 in this first race in this starter claiming 12-5. 5.5 now on the dirt, originally on the turf. So that means scratch the 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 12, 13, and 14. Keith, you have the number 10 on top. Tweet away Robin now back in the barn of Hugh McMahon for Leonardo Carujo.
Yeah, we've got Carujo. I got that rider changed there. I tell you, short field here. The main speed might be Paper Mansion if Tweet away Robin doesn't come out of the gate. She's had some, the last couple races are a little bit, alarming to me. Not really the Tweet away Robin that I'm kind of used to seeing. I'm going to give her one more shot. Shorter field, late to get loaded, maybe that'll help her out a little bit. But when she's close to right, I think she can go ahead and prompt the issue of a Paper Mansion and edge on by. She's run some big races over this racetrack in the past.
And there we have it. Underneath, you just touched on Paper Mansion, Jamie Ness, Jamie Rodriguez, too lackluster. But every time we get off of an off the turf affair with this one, it seems to suddenly show up then. So that's the trend I took.
Couple of buyers hedging up the higher 50s, obviously proven speed. We talked about it, 3 back at 5.5, got it done. Tweet away Robin's, I think, a little bit quicker than some of the ones that she faced that day. But if our top selection has a hiccup, she could be long gone on the front end.
10-6, 3-11 for Keith Fustel in that early pick 5. Now let's go to the early pick 4. Let's take a look at the ticket you've got, Keith, in this off-the-turf event today. $36 ticket, no single, not today.
No, this is an expensive ticket, and it could have gone onwards and upwards. This is a challenging, I thought, very challenging early pick 4, $36. I usually don't like to go ahead and put that kind of ticket up there, but maybe if you can whittle it down, maybe just go 1 and 8 early. I don't know, but I'm going to go 3 deep. You've got a potent entry here for Ness. The one entry 8 and 9 in race 2. I spread a little bit in race 3. I added the 6th late. It's a late breaking. I didn't get it on the early PP's first time gelding angle here on this dropper class actor. I'll go 2, 4, 6, and 8 in there. 8 your live long shot, I believe. Race number 4 with the 9, 11, 12. Wrap it up in race 5, 2 deep with the 1 and the 8. Feeling Woozy might hold a little bit of value there. We have a couple scratches, and the 5 Calming Storm and John Hall might hurt my odds a little bit. But there you go, $36 for that early pick 4.
Landed it off with Feeling Woozy there in that last leg. We'll get to that one in a bit for Hammy Smith. But let's go back to the beginning of that ticket. In this first leg, race number 2, this maiden claiming 30,000. 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the straight 2-year-olds. Keith, let's go ahead and get that video up of Return Fire. This was back from that last effort, that first and only effort over at Timonium.
Yeah, Ness here with Armed and Ready. Return Fire. Armed and Ready is going to be Perez. Locked and Loaded looks like here. Going to be a shorter price this entry when it's all said and done. And I thought the debut for Return Fire over Timonium was very good, Callie. Caught 3 wide early. We didn't show that into that first turn. Hung out a little wide. A bid to press. Looks like, he was going to kind of fade a little bit, turning for home. He found more that last 16th of a mile, challenge gamely in between horses. I think that race is going to do a lot of good. The number kind of holds up, it looks like, because looking at Grumpy Brooks, he came back to run like a 45 next time out in that stake. So I think it works. You're going to need like a mid-40, I believe, to win this race. But I look for I look for return fire to kind of be on or near the lead. I don't think he necessarily needs it. I think he can track inside if somebody gets a little bit, anxious and wants to really, really go ahead and go, but brings a finish. But the other part works. We talk about Xavier Perez picking up the mount on Armed and Ready. Kind of got that good kind of improved position comment at Delaware, a useful debut, as I would like to call it. Now, this one here, out of formalities aside, 9 winning siblings, you maybe expected a little bit more because that family, you got a lot of winners in there. They've run some big numbers. Awesome Flower, I think, is in the mix as well with that family. So I think this entry is going to be very tough to leave out. Ultimate Strike is a horse you don't have in there. I'm going to toss in Mike Pino, maiden special weight to the maiden claiming. I like that angle. Half brother, topped at a 59 over this racetrack. And looking at that trip last time, it was kind of tough. A little bit of a step slow out of the gate. Caught wide early. Got good tracking position off the duel. Just didn't kick it in, but kind of protected late by Paco. I think turning back with maybe some horses that really don't want to quite get the 6 just yet. I think we'll bring a finish in here and Ride Diggity Dog, this 9, I think, off of the race, out of a pretty quick race. 46-1 over Timonium. That's a sharp half. Chase to no avail. Force of Justice quick. I think this one stays a long way here with Lopez from the outside.
Okay, there we have it. I like that angle of race of Ultimate Strike. Your exacta as Keith Fusel goes at 1A, 8, 9, and 7. Second leg, race number 3 is a claiming 10,000. Never win 2. Another 3/4 of a distance, but for the 3-year-olds and up, you have the number 4 on top improper. In the barn of Rudy Sanchez, Solomon, and Angel Cruz.
Yeah, and I see you've got the 6 on top, the sharp drop for Russell. I did not see reported first-time gelding. I missed that one, so that is why that one was thrown into the early pick 4 ticket. But improper, this looks to me maybe like the 6, all or nothing type of selection, a jam, but goes second-time gelding today and really had good position at 7/8 at the quarter pole. Just didn't fire through against better. Again, I think the flow is going to be contested in here. I look for improper to get position by the time they hit the quarter pole and go on by. 4-2-8-9 Irish Warlock off a troubled trip last time out. You see that at Pimlico. They didn't go super fast early, but it was, a battle up front, in close at the start, and came very wide to finish up quite well. I think Irish Warlock didn't switch leads. Stay on that correctly would going to enhance the run. That's a user from the back of the pack.
Okay, there we have it. 4-2-8-9 for Keith Fusel in that second leg. The third leg, race number 4, is an off-the-turf event going 5.5 now on the dirt for the girls 3, 4, and 5 in this maiden 45 effort. Scratch the 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 14, and 15. You and I both have the number 11, Bone Diva, on top in the barn of Tim Keith. Johan Rosado switching over, keeping that dirt effort today.
Well, we saw the Keith barn. They've caught a little bit of fire, and they're going to try to sustain that in the shift over to racing here to Laurel Park and catches the right group off the turf. Lots of scratches. Bondiva, a big effort. The only thing that concerns me, the number might be a little bit inflated because right up front, Ours made a big buyer jump second time out. I don't know. I mean, obviously you can get that improvement. Quick race, the speed to get into it to stay here, the trip. Bondiva, a shorter price for Tim Keefe.
And you have the number 12 as I do. And what's your big idea for Gaudette? Toledo, second time, maybe a little bit more of a charm. Just got off to a slow start first time out.
Seen a couple runners out of this weather. You're not right, ran around here. I want to say that might have been a Moberly horse on the go back. But yeah, right. good effort. Slower start to be able to kind of grind it out that longer stretch at Colonial works for me. I think this horse is going to be definitely poised for a little bit of improvement off of the debut. It was a good try there down at Colonial. 11, 12, 9. Let's talk about the 9 a little bit. Good Magic. And, when I first saw this on the turf, I said, Good Magic seemed a little bit better on the dirt. Yeah. So I like the fact they keep this horse in. Sneaky little move here by Motion Lasix on in debut.
And there we have it. The Dam, Any Day Is My Day, a good second in her first time out to help out with that for that Gray Motion first-time starter. As Keith Fusel goes 11, 12, 9, 4 there. And as we tick along to our last reg of the early pick 4, it also kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6. Let's take a look at my ticket. Just a little bit cheaper than yours, although I tend to run expensive anyway. $32 to kick things off. 1-3, double down with Order the Kettle Fryer Tuck. You have a nice little price of, but feeling woozy. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Race number 6, Jackpot Super High 5, maiden claiming 45. I go 5 wide. The number 4 under the overpass being my top selection. Race number 7, I go 2 deep. My top selection being the number 4 as well as yours in Opus 42. Race number 8, I do go wide in that maiden special weight just because it's off of the turf. things make it a little bit more interesting. 4, 7, 9, 12. You go with the 7 in that race. I go with the 9. Perfectly Wicked. And I single in, of course, on race number 9, Feed to Spree. Why not? That's just the logical way to go about that. And race number 10, Too Deep, with the 4 and the 6 in that maiden claiming 20,000. Now, let's circle back to the beginning of that ticket here in this restricted allowance, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up, scratching the 5, Calming Storm, the 7, John Hall. Keith, you have the number 8 on top, Feelin' Woozy, in your ticket for Hammy Smith, J. Ron Barbosa.
Yeah, reaching for a little bit of value. I think he'll still hold okay in here. A beaten favorite to and a 2 other than. Okay, so kind of out of a little, condition there, back to the state bred A other than. I think this is going to be a softer spot. Prior dirt numbers stack up. His horses run well at a mile. Positional speed. Yes, there's some other faster horses in here, I think, to the inside. Freeze the Fire, Friar Truck, very quick. Don't think Barbosa can't land this horse maybe in that 3rd spot. Sitting there in that stalking trip, leaving the 3/8 pole. I think this horse can bring a finish in here. Definitely has faced some really crack horses in his last few races.
You also have the number 1, Order of the Kettle, in your exacta. And let's take a look at Order of the Kettle in that last start over at Pimlico. Didn't get the best start, but comes with a nice enough finish.
Yeah, I thought the 3-year-old debut over at Pimlico was pretty good. That was a track on September the 8th. Speed, inside speed was really, really good, Cal. And this horse settled back, got a little bit of a brush at the break, maybe got him off his game just a little bit further back. But comes with a finish, only beaten a length and some change when it's all said and done. I think it's a good natural setup here. Breeding suggests a little extra ground isn't going to hurt. I think he's got a little bit more positional speed in the tank. You might see that this afternoon. So second time back as the 3-year-old for Brittany Russell's charge, Order of the Kettle.
And there we have it, 8-1-3-2 for Keith Fustel in race number 5. And we will be right back after this commercial break to discuss our Jackpot Super High at 5 race in race number 6 and onward.
And they're off.
And it's jackpot time, of course, our super high 5 jackpot. We have a carryover from that Pimlico meet, 6,188. That also kicks off the late pick 5 in this maiden claiming 45 event. 2-year-olds, 3/4 on the dirt. Keith, you have the rail horse in Coringa, Arnaud Delacour, Victor Carrasco on top. This one by Practical Joke does well. First-time starters.
Yeah, and this is a horse I kind of went back on YouTube. Delacour throws those workouts up there, and you can kind of watch. Dan Illman kind of put me onto that. We'll have Dan out here tomorrow with some really good insight on those races.
Yeah, you guys are going to have a great take on those races tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm leaning on him. I told him. I said he better bring his best,
he
does.
He brings it.
He's very good. But Practical Joke is the best stallion that's gone to this mare. I think it's not even close. And so the siblings, okay. Yep. But the workouts, watching this guy, the times, okay, yes, showing some bullets and everything out of the game. But, man, this guy's been working in company and doing it well within himself under a hammer lock. Looks like, extra ground off the 5/8 and a half isn't going to bother him. He's been inside, been outside. Work with Monticello, which was a Delacour horse that won on the turf in debut at Pimlico, I believe, with Carrasco. That was turf. This one certainly bred to handle the main track. Going to take a shot. Hopefully we get an okay break. It looks like this horse got some size, so you have to check this one out in the paddock.
Yep.
But I'm interested in some firsts in here. Also the 8. You don't have the 8 in there. Bomb Cyclone. Shipping in Peter Walder. And hasn't run a whole lot of 2-year-old firsters in the last couple of years. I've got him 1 for 1. A horse that galloped at Gulfstream like a year or two ago. But you look at the work back on September the 2nd. I know I'm not a huge work guy, but comparatively, that thing was a lights out, if that holds true at all. Kin to Purely Hot. I think a couple horses in Mary Epler trying about it had T-Sizzle, Steamy Hot. They were runners. Horses that ran well early, showed some good speed. And this horse, look at the mare, would not. That was old Lenny Pinot horse, right? Lenny Pinot seen me cry more than anybody. Vet down in Baltimore with the dogs, and I'm not even going to get depressed, but my man Lenny. But anyhow, 8 starters out of this mare, 2 winners, a second and a third with a debut runner. So there you go.
There we have
it. Bomb Cyclone. We'll see what kind of action this one takes coming in from New York.
Okay, love it.
Yes.
1859. There we have it. Any thoughts
Yeah,
on Foolproof
well,
Ricky Silliman
yeah,
coming back from, as is usual, he does so well at Pimlico, just trying always to continue that momentum a little bit.
Yeah, the blinkers are going on. That was a Tromby filly, I believe, that won that race. And that was another horse calling our play I was kind of matching up works against. But no, this Colonial to Maryland kind of angle, it's worked. For Silliman. It worked up there at Pimlico with a runner. This one got a lot of good experience there. I thought kept on quite well after working out for the final furlong. So Foolproof is a user for me. And in the dance, this is a protect move here for Jerry Robb and company. This is a horse, you looked at that debut run in for 25. Did take some play, but had a really eventful trip. Broke slow, a duck in, very wide, and finished up well. We saw the horse off a tough wide trip get it done over at Pimlico, the Damon horse. So I tell you, in the dance, maybe outran what they maybe initially thought. So protected here today to move up second time out.
There we go. 1859. I did fight to have that Peter Walter horse on and off of my ticket.
Interesting move. You just don't see. I mean, he doesn't run horses here really at all. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's what made me take a little. I just want to see what Walter shows up with, and for me I haven't seen much of him, so there we have it. That's where I'm taking. So I'm glad you take that approach there, and for a man who says he doesn't go much off of works, you do dive deep into it, and so I
did there,
you did in this race. It was good. It was good. I'm very impressed. Race number 7 in this allowance optional claiming 40,000, a mile and 16th on the dirt as intended for the girls 3 and up. Scratch in the 10, 6 the hard way, and I believe scratch the 7 as well, cover the spread. So you and I both have the number 4 on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at that effort with Opus 42. Delacour in that effort, I believe it was on
should be the Delaware Oaks, right?
Yes.
July the 1st, and a good effort. Got the lead, got hooked, but kept on battling down inside of rivals through the final 3/16 of a mile. Opus 42 is pretty quick, so we'll see. She's going to kind of go third off of a little bit of a break. Lasix back on. There is some other speed in here, but I don't know if anybody really wants to kind of go with her. We'll see if she misses the beat at the break, so be it. But this is another one kind of looking at those. She looks in really good form. She looks good. So I think we're expecting a big effort for Opus 42. And a little stat for our Delacour the last 3 years on the dirt: 6 for 16, 38%, 10 for 16 in the money. Sprints to routes. We talked about the Lasix going back on. This is a horse that was within a length in the Beaumont of those fillies. Look at that, 22 chase, 44. Quick. There's some fast horses in there. So if she breaks alertly, I think you're going to see Centeno get aggressive and just try to control this race from the get-go. If you're looking for maybe a horse off the pace, maybe Saddle Up Jesse. Is there anybody else that you think, Peyton Elizabeth, I think, is a horse that needs to be tactile, needs to be forward. I don't know. She got away with some softer fractions in those wins. 2-3 back, it was pretty quick, but I don't know if she wants to get in a battle head-to-head early with Opus 42. What do you think?
Well, I'm curious what your turnoff is for I Can Run. I get the price. I understand why at the price. Just coming down from it, just these tough, the listed stakes company is just too much for this filly, so I think it's a logical one. Might need one more run at this level before we start to see anything out of this filly, but on the off chance, I just took a stab at her at 10 to 1.
Yeah, Lasix back on and going to be a fairly decent price. I think line right at 10 to 1, kind of a grinding style. Can she bring that finish against this group? I think she's going to need a little help up front. Saddle Up Jesse, the same thing for Brittany Russell. 2 for 2 on the dirt since in the Russell barn. Tried on the turf last time, a little bit of trouble, but this one appears to be a little bit better on the main track. And Continental Congress, kind of a blowout win 2 back, now comes back to the main track. That was a good run at Colonial. Those internals sometimes get really quick down there, so I don't know if, again, what's the true speed. She's shown some speed in the past with Continental Congress. Is she going to be able to kind of keep pace early? This is an interesting race, race 7. I think Opus 42 is a horse that's shown some talent. Peyton Elizabeth, been there a 10-time hard-knocking mare. You gotta love her. Even Haint Blue is on the improve. I had her on the ticket. I'm not going to leave her out of the exactas. I can tell you that. If this track was had a little bit more moisture in it, definitely would have moved up the chances of a Haint Blue. But she's improving nicely for Hammy Smith.
Yeah, as far as the pace is concerned, there might be a little bit more than what you would expect, but you can be sure those two on the inside, they're going to be gunning for it.
Yeah.
So I think, the question was with Peyton Elizabeth, are they going to try and do that again? Absolutely they are, especially being on the rail. As Keith Fusel goes 4-1, 3-2, they're in race number 7. Race number 8 is a maiden special weight and is mile on the dirt now. It was on the turf, now 1-turn mile on the dirt for the 2-year-old fillies. Scratch the 1-5 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And you have the number 7 on top. Hidden Presence for Graham Motion. Georgie Ruiz gets the second time start, which I think is a big up jump in the barn.
Now, I did a little late switcheroo on you, and I didn't report it, and that's my,
my
my
gosh,
apology.
Sorry. I was looking at my
most
screen. I wasn't
sincerest
looking at the
apologies.
screen.
No,
Gosh, don't worry about it.
And this is something Viennese Waltz,
Yes.
the Rod Dog, and I upstairs. Robin kind of said, it looks like this filly needs some blinkers. I said, I agree with you, dog. I said, we'll see. We thought maybe second time, and when I initially got my PPs, the blinkers on was not listed.
Okay.
I try to get my stuff done early, so I get here today, and I see
do.
Robin
I work the
upstairs,
same
and he
way.
says, blinkers on Viennese Waltz. I said, really?
Yes.
I said, okay. So this is the half the cord maker. Run a little bit spotty the first two. I think it's going to come together now, some focus with the blinkers. So hence, there you go, the late change.
There we have
A
it.
little audible, Viennese Waltz on
Yeah.
top, and I think the added ground, I think it's going to be perfect for this one.
And there we have it. Now the number
The
7,
7.
Hidden Presence. Now you can get to Hidden Presence a little bit because I'm very curious on your take on that one. Returning to the dirt of this filly by Taproot.
Yeah, and I think dirt should be just fine. The second dam was great at stakes placed on the dirt. I think the mare won first out on the dirt. And Graham Motion, he's 5 for 12, 7 for 12 in the money, turf to dirt, second career start. A lot of positives there for Hidden Presence. Kind of got behind a slower pace, made a move up to him at the half. Chase, it just didn't bring a finish. But the fact that Motion keeps her here again, just like that other horse earlier we talked about keeping in, it kind of moves her up in my book.
Absolutely. So we both round things up with the 9 and the 4. Perfectly Wicked and Thursday Girl, Arnaud Delacour, as Keith Fusel goes 12 with Viennese Waltz with the blinkers on. 7, 9, 4. Race number 9, an allowance optional claiming 55. 7 furlongs on the dirt. For the girls 3 and up, was a smaller field, now smaller. Scratch the 1-4-5. 3-horse field with you and I both going with the number 6, Fee d'Esprit. Let's take a look back at that Barbara Fritchie where Fee d'Esprit, we saw her last.
Yeah, it was a really good effort. You see the move inside, swaying to and fro, and it has to kind of work outward, and is able to do that, kind of working in there between horses, but brings the finish. 7/8 has always been good for this one. She's just been, just unreal for this barn, for the connections off the claim. You see that 14 wins, 26 starts, going to finish up quite well. I tell you, the only question is the layout, but she fits the condition beautifully, gets it by about a month. When you read through the conditions, looks like the race was here for her. So there you go. Fee d'Esprit gets a little help here. Quick Money was a late scratch. I thought that one was really sharp at Pimlico. But I think, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, we'll see if she can recapture that old form. But I think Fee d'Esprit will be able to kind of keep her fairly close and make that move and go on by at 7/8. It's good to see her back.
Oh, I'm a personal big fan of the filly,
No
so
doubt.
I'm very excited to see her back, as we all are here as we wrap up our chat for today at the races with this last nightcap here in this maiden claiming 20,000, 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the straight 2-year-old. Scratch in the number 3, Love in May. Keith, you have the number 2 on top. This is Kings River, Linda Albert, Forest Boyce. Let's take a look back at that first race over here at Laurel Park. Let's cut to that break.
Off a little bit slow. You're going to see this out of the start. And maybe the slightest mistake. Some horses kind of converge there soon after the break. But that little hesitation there didn't help things at all for Kings River. But what I liked is when we pick it up here, Cal, leaving the far turn, making that move in between horses, kind of that sneaky middle move. You really don't even see it too much on the chart, but you get it here, and that's why you gotta go look at races. So showing the ability for Kings River to make that move to go buy horses And to me, a little bit of a questionable group. Some of these horses, they might jump up and run big, but you can completely toss the race at Colonial. It just was really a handful for Forest Boys. I mean, that was a really troubled opening quarter, maybe even 5/16 of a mile on the turf. Back to the right surface here, a little bit of a drop. And I think with any kind of a break, we'll be able to get in position to reel these guys in.
In your exacta, you have Dashing Artanian with the blinkers on, with Dennis Urujo on as well for Jose Corrales.
Yeah, Corrales is a sneaky little stat here of his career. The 2-year-old's maiden second out. Its ROI is like $4, maybe even a little bit higher. Take that into consideration. A little bit of an awkward break. I know we don't have that in that small short comment at Timonium, but did get away a little awkwardly. Catahoula Moon ran big, a game second. Next time out, the blinkers go on. So it would not be surprised for some improvement for this 9 Dashing D'Artagnan.
And there we have it, 2-9-6-5 in our nightcap for today at the races with Keith Fustel, of course. Let's go to our lightning round and dive in a little bit more to those picks and what's been happening this week, starting with your value play of the day with race number 5, Feelin' Woozy with Hammy Smith.
Yeah, the price might come just down a little bit. We've got a couple scratches in there, but I think Feelin' Woozy back to the correct condition here. Chased the 2 other than types at Timonium. Comes back, has run well at a mile, 7/8. Positional speed. He's shown maybe his best races kind of right on the front end, but I just got a hunch this guy can kind of track and get up behind the speed, because I think it's going to be contested in there.
There we go, trying to give you a little bit of a show with Hammy Smith in the value play of the day. Let's go to your best bet in race number 7, Opus 42, of course, with Arnaud Delacour.
Yeah, recent works look good visually on the videos. Checking those out. She looks in good flesh. I think this one is very quick. If she's able to clear around that first turn, I think Santana will be able to nurse that one home.
Of course, just wanted to highlight, we had the Keeneland sale wrapped up last weekend, so just bringing in some Maryland bred stats. Total of 29 Maryland breds were offered at this year's sale. 21 sold, 1 was post-sale, total of $1,714,000. Average sales price was $81,000, $81,619, but your sales topper as a Maryland bred paid $500,000, and it was a McLean's Music colt out of the winning Malibu Moon mare, Make Amends. Of course, bred by Country Life and Make Amends Farm, and was purchased by Richard Balta. So a pretty good showing over at Keeneland by the Maryland breds.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, we've got some very, very good Maryland breds. So, we've got the sale coming up Monday and Tuesday, right, for the yearling. So I think there'll be a lot of action going on at Timonium.
So, some more Maryland breds, possibly add Fasig-Tipton at Timonium on October 2nd and 3rd. And we are going to leave you to Dave Rodman for some more potential changes and scratches for the rest of this Friday's card. But Dan and Keith will be on for the morning show tomorrow, as we have a quartet of stakes coming in. Don't miss out on that morning show. Dan gives you the good stuff, and we will leave you to it.
All right. Good luck, everybody.